The title of this video is not clickbait, unfortunately. I am making some changes at Recloseted, and I'm finally going to address it in this video. I have been thinking about these changes for the past year. I've been getting quiet, getting deep, getting introspective, and trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my business. And I still haven't 100% figured it out yet, but I wanted to have the courage to talk about it. And if you've been with me since the very beginning, I started building this business 6 years ago. So we've been together for years and years. I felt like it was such a disservice for me to figure this out by myself in the shadows because there's been so much learning throughout all of this. I wanted to share that with you in the hopes that it can help you as well. I know that you're likely not going through the exact same thing as me, but I hope that I can be an example of someone that's still figuring it out, but is able to be candid and vulnerable and share it on the internet so that it can hopefully make you feel less alone. That's my goal in this, that I can share my learnings with you. You can gain something from it. And even if you're not going through the exact same thing as me, I can be an example of someone that still doesn't have it figured out by any means, but I am confident in my path moving forward. And sometimes it's just taking one step at a time. So anyways, all this to say, we are going to get deep. We're going to get candid and vulnerable in this podcast episode. To kick things off, I am going to humble brag a little bit. I hope you don't mind, but I am really proud of this business I've built. Like I alluded to, I've been doing it for over 6 years, so over half a decade. And the business and the community, which you were very much a part of, I am so proud of. I have had the privilege and the honor of working with hundreds of conscious founders all over the world. And 98.9% of them were also female, which really makes me so happy. Beyond that, I have had this Recloseted radio podcast for over half a decade. I've grown it to one of the top 5% of podcasts in the world, which is no small feat. Additionally, I've spoken at conferences all over the world, including Singapore, States, Europe, which has been so cool. I've gotten to travel for work. And I've also gotten some cool press features in Forbes, Fortune, CBC, and all that stuff. And because of that, on paper, this looks like a successful business, and I look like a successful entrepreneur because I've checked all these boxes. Of course, I am really proud of everything I have accomplished and been able to do over the past 6 years. It's been such a wild ride, and I feel so privileged and so honored to have been able to do all those things. That being said, though, I started this business in my mid-20s. I was still quite young, and at the time, I was figuring myself out, figuring my career out, trying a bunch of things. And as someone that's very growth-oriented, it's natural that I can outgrow things. And I feel like that's where I've ended up. It was definitely a slow burn of me outgrowing that version of my business. And it was also a hard truth I didn't want to face because things were chugging along. And after doing something for so many years, it just becomes so comfortable. Running a business is never, ever a walk in the park or anything like that. But when your foundation is built, you have leads coming in, you don't really have to go out and pitch yourself. That's a really nice and privileged place to be. That being said, I did spend a lot of work building up that foundation. All this to say, I just felt really comfortable, but deep down, I knew something was wrong and I needed to change something. Across this entire year, I've gotten really introspective around what was going on. And now reflecting on it, there are 3 things that allowed me to realize this wasn't the right path for me anymore. The first thing that happened was the fact that I was severely burnt out. I just felt tired, exhausted, unmotivated. Things that used to excite me didn't excite me anymore. And so obviously that's a clear sign of burnout. I think a big reason why this happened was that, yes, there was a lot of work, but beyond that, the work just didn't feel aligned anymore and it didn't feel as fulfilling anymore. Because of that, every single thing I did just felt like I was pushing this boulder up a hill, and it never used to feel like that. So the workload was still quite intense, but the work felt like it took double the amount of effort to do it because, again, it felt like I was pushing a boulder up a hill. And I just felt so burnt out this entire year. Then the second thing was income. I had some really big and ambitious income goals that I wanted to hit. And I had to come to the difficult realization that I felt like the niche was a bit too niche and I wouldn't be able to hit those income goals that I wanted to. And the third thing was just around my passion and fulfillment for this business. Don't get me wrong, I don't think that your business will always feel fun, aligned, and exciting. However, it should be still about 80% fun and you should still enjoy it. And I was really dipping way below like 50%. And so I'm able to clearly list out these 3 things now, but it did take me all year to get quiet, get introspective, and come to this place because deep down, we all know what we want, but I was just having so much fear around speaking this into existence. As soon as this became my reality and I was aware of it, I'm not someone that can just sit there and not do anything about it. I had these ideas of pivoting my business or expanding it or just doing something completely new altogether. And that seemed scary because, again, on paper, it was successful and I had all these things happening for me. If I just threw it all away, there's all these things that you subconsciously start to spiral about, like, am I still going to be able to make a living? Do I have to go back to doing a 9-to-5 job? Is everyone now going to think I'm a failure? What are my clients going to think? What are my parents going to say? What are my friends going to say? All this stuff. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is you and your happiness. But of course, when you're having an existential crisis or a mentee bee or a spiral sesh, none of that logic makes sense, but you're just spiraling internally. Anyways, all this to say, it took me a while to list these things off. So I'm recording this now and I'm able to say all this stuff. But if you're going through a decision right now and you have no idea what to do as well, it's fine. I completely didn't want to recognize those truths. But what helped me arrive to this realization that I couldn't keep doing what I was doing was 3 things. The first one is the fact that my partner pointed out that I was miserable. I was exhausted all the time. I was cranky all the time. And he was like, this is not who you are. So he probed me and pushed me to do some work on it. And I'm grateful. If you have a good partner, they can hold a mirror up to you and be like, hey, there's this thing you're avoiding. Maybe we could work on it. And then the second thing is this book on quitting. And it's so good. It's by Annie Duke, and I will have it linked down below. But in there, Annie talks about the fact that you need to make difficult decisions and you need to quit when you need to quit. A lot of the times in society, quitting is seen as such a bad thing, but actually it's good because you're dropping something that no longer works, no longer serves you, so that you have more energy, time, and resources to work on something that might work better. That book really helped change my mindset around quitting because I had a lot of pride and ego around seeing it through, and pride and ego with the fact that I'm someone that's very perseverant, gritty, all this stuff. And again, it actually is more smart and strategic to pivot and do things differently if it's not working. So that book was really helpful and I'll link it down below. The third thing is the fact that I wasn't having fun anymore. This is a business that I loved to do before. Every single day I would wake up and be excited. And for this past year, every single day I would wake up and dread going to work or dread starting my day, which is wild because I never felt like that over the past 5 years. So I knew I needed to make a change. Those 3 things, the forcing of the mirror for my partner, knowing that deep down that for me, being an entrepreneur, a big part of it is enjoying my job and being able to pick and choose what I work on and pick and choose what I want to do. I almost fell into this mindset of a 9-to-5 job where you're thrown on this project that you don't really like to do, but you have to do it because your manager told you to do it. You know what I mean? I did that to myself, even though I wasn't working a 9-to-5 job, which is wild. So took back control again. I got deep, I got introspective to try to figure out what was going on. And I realized that the niche that I had carved out for myself 6 years ago that seemed so exciting of working with fashion brand owners was now feeling like a cage. I felt like I had caged myself in. I felt boxed in creatively. I hated all the content I was creating because it felt like I couldn't do anything else. I also started to feel like I was playing a character because I had this consulting firm and I wanted to be this like proper consultant. But if you know me in real life, I love to talk about a variety of different things. I can be goofy, I can be silly. And I felt like I couldn't show that side of myself. And more, I felt like I could only show one certain aspect of myself that was very polished and very curated. And it's not to say I was not myself. It's just I was only one version of myself. And I am a multifaceted person, as I'm sure you are as well. So that's something I didn't like. And then I am someone that's very multi-passionate. I've had success in a lot of different industries, but I felt like I could only work with fashion brand owners. People would approach me and be like, oh my gosh, I love the stuff you put out. I know you work with fashion brands, but can we work together? And I would always have to turn them away, even if I was interested in helping them. Those types of pings just came more and more in this past year. I got reached out to by people in different industries, service providers, VC-backed founders, and I had to turn them all away because I was like, no, I only work with fashion brand owners. And so when I realized that I created this golden cage around myself, I still remember this vividly, but the first emotions that hit me were shame and guilt. I felt ashamed and guilty because I felt like I would be leaving the fashion industry behind. I would be abandoning the fashion community, my clients, all these things. And that's obviously not true, but that's just how I felt. And I've done a lot of work on this. I've gotten quiet. I realized that I am able to be helpful to many people. And actually, it does people a disservice to be like, no, I can't help you. I can only help this specific segment of people when I know and I feel so deeply called to help more people. Anyways, I had to shift my mindset and mind frame around that. And layered on top of this, women in society are taught to be small, play small, stay in your lane. These are all things that are consciously and subconsciously taught to us. So I also felt uncomfortable taking up more room, claiming the fact that I wanted to work with more people and swerving outside of my lane and maybe doing a little bit of a Yui. That was very interesting for me to go through and recognize that. There was a lot of things going on, but I decided that even if I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with Recloseted or whatever was going on, the next thing I knew was that I wanted to work with more people. And I also wanted to start to build a personal brand. And so I was sitting there being like, oh my God, what are my next steps? What am I going to do? And it's interesting because usually I'm a very decisive person. I know exactly what I want to do. Or if I don't have the steps, I go out and seek mentors, programs, or courses to get the education or the knowledge I need. But this decision in particular was so daunting. And I felt like I had to make the perfect decision. I had to be strategic about it. And so I felt paralyzed, which was so unlike me. I'm usually very in tune with myself. But a friend of mine told me, you know what? You don't have to make the perfect decision. You don't have to put all this pressure on yourself, because if you make a decision and you're like, I don't like it, you can always pivot. You can always change. What he suggested was just take one step in front of the other, make a decision, make another one, and then it's less overwhelming. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. I'm going to do that. And I got quiet and realized that I still love working with my Recloseted clients. They are some of the most amazing people. I feel so honored and so blessed to be able to work with them and see their growth and their evolution. It just warms my heart so much. I have the absolute best clients in the world. And so I continue to work with them, which is great. On the side though, like I said, I felt like I was playing a character on Recloseted social media channels. So I decided to take a step back. I repurposed Recloseted's Instagram to my personal Instagram. If you used to follow Recloseted on Instagram and you're still following us, then you may have noticed I changed the handle to my name. So it's Selena J. Ho now. I was always the face of Recloseted, so it's not like that big of a change. But I challenged myself to not just talk about fashion on my Instagram moving forward. I'm all about achieving your own version of success, sustainably growing your business. And so that's what I talk about there. And now I'm at a place where I almost have two different businesses. I still have my amazing Recloseted clients. I'm filming this in Spain right now. I just went on a super amazing productive factory visit with my client Valerie. So excited for her. But also on the side, I have this personal brand I'm building. I'm starting to work with other conscious entrepreneurs. I've started to work with fashion designers and people in the service space a bit more because I learned so much building Recloseted. So it feels like I have two businesses and I love doing both, but I need to figure out what my path moving forward is. That's why I decided to make this video, because if you follow me on my personal Instagram or notice that I started an entirely brand new YouTube channel, you might be like, what the heck is going on? Is Selena abandoning Recloseted? What's happening? And so I wanted to give you an update. Like I alluded to, I'm still figuring out with Recloseted, there's a lot of things I could have done. I could have closed it, shut it down. I could have sold it to someone, exited, or I could keep both businesses and I could hire another CEO to run Recloseted and build my new thing. Or I could keep doing both, or I could try to merge it together. There's all these different options, but for now, what feels good is trying to merge it together because I still love working with my Recloseted clients. I was so nervous talking about this pivot and this expansion, and every single one of my clients was like, you've helped me so much. I think it makes sense that you want to help different types of folks. And like I just talked about, I'm in Spain right now because I did a factory visit with my client. And she's so sweet. She was like, you have helped me so much. Don't limit yourself. Continue doing what you want to do. Help more people. I'm telling you, I have the best clients. And so, yeah, all this to say, I've decided to merge it for now. Who knows? This may change, but I still feel so aligned and called to help transform the fashion industry. And so I'm also now working with other fashion entrepreneurs like fashion designers, stylists, all sorts of people. And beyond that, people outside of fashion too, which is really, really cool. So I want to work more generally now with conscious entrepreneurs and hopefully female conscious entrepreneurs because I love working with females. You're probably like, okay, so what's next? How is this going to affect me? Let me tell you what my plans are. When it comes to my content, I am going to be the most active on my personal brand. So if you followed Recloseted on Instagram, you should still be following my personal account, but I will leave it down below just in case you aren't or something happened. My handle's at Selena J. Ho. Like I alluded to, I started a brand new YouTube channel. So if you loved all the resources and the value I put out on this YouTube channel, you're going to really enjoy my personal one. On my personal one, I zoom out a little bit, so it's not as specific to fashion entrepreneurs. However, I do talk about how to build businesses that will sustain your lifestyle, your bank account, and the planet in this new era that I'm entering. Sustainability has such a new meaning to it. Like, yes, of course, we want to take care of the planet, but beyond that, it needs to be sustainable for you. You need to not be burnt out all the time. You need to be able to make a living off of this. And so I talk all about that on my other YouTube channel, and the handle is as well at Selena J. Ho. All these links will be down below. I now also have a weekly newsletter called the Sustainable Success Series, and it's the behind the scenes of expanding, building this new business. I also share a lot of free resources in there, so check it out. In terms of Recloseted's channels, I am now going to have a landing page for the Recloseted Instagram. Moving forward, if you want to continue to get my tips and strategies on Instagram, follow my personal account at Selena J. Ho. When it comes to this podcast, I'm still figuring it out. If there's certain things you want me to talk about or requests you have, please leave them in the comments down below or DM them to me at Selena J. Ho. I am wide open for suggestions. I would love your feedback and input because I have worked on this podcast for over 5 years and it would be kind of a shame to drop it. I still love this format. I love recording and sharing things in a longer format, but I want to make sure it's valuable to you. And over the 300 episodes, I've really exhausted how to start a fashion brand and how to grow a fashion brand. So now I'm thinking of broadening it. So it's more about fashion entrepreneurs in general, like including service providers and more in the lens of this new way of doing business that I talked about, where it's sustainable for the planet, your bank account, and your lifestyle. But yeah, let me know what you think. And I will likely take a pause on the podcast for now because I want to regroup and be very intentional with it and not just put out noise for the sake of it. But I'm not going to give it up. We will be back. I just want to be intentional and strategic about it. In the meantime, though, I have a lot of free resources and I wanted to list them all out again in case you've missed anything because there's a lot. If you're a fashion brand owner or you have a fashion brand, there's 2 free resources I have that I wanted to share. My first one is how to fund your fashion line, completely free training on how much it takes to start a fashion brand, as well as how you're going to get that funding. You can access it at recloseted.com/budget. The link will be down below for you as well. My second resource is my masterclass called How to Launch a Profitable Sustainable Fashion Brand. This one is all about the other parts, product development, marketing, launch strategy, all that stuff. Again, this is completely free and you can register now at recloseted.com/masterclass. Link will be down below for you. With my new personal brand business, I also have a new freebie called Your Success Roadmap. Throughout the past year, I've realized that I used to chase society's version of success and other people's version of success, but now I am in my era where I'm unapologetically going after what success means to me. If you are also someone that wants to figure out what that looks like for you and build a roadmap to achieve your version of success and not anyone else's, you can register for my Your Success Roadmap program, which is again free at selenaho.com/roadmap. Link will be down below for you. Those are all the free resources I have for sustainable fashion brand owners. If you're a fashion entrepreneur or a conscious entrepreneur more generally, there's a couple of resources as well. My Your Success Roadmap program will still be relevant for you. And the link is again, selenaho.com/roadmap. Additionally, if you're a new entrepreneur and you want to start a business, but you don't know what you want to do, but you want to do it consciously, I have a brand new free program called Build a Sustaining Business. And in that program, there's over 15 lessons, a Notion workbook to help you build a sustaining business. Again, it's free and you can get it at selenaho.com/BASB. The link will be down below for you as well. So no excuse for you not to be successful. Even when I take my hiatus with this podcast to figure things out behind the scenes, there's all these free resources. I'll leave all the links down below. And then if you wanted to work together, this is the part that I have fought really long because I want to honor my capacity and make sure that for my clients I choose to work with, I can give it my all and be very involved and give them as much value as possible. So when it comes to fashion brand owners, there's 2 ways you can work with me. The first one is through my Launch Your Brand course. The course is my self-paced or do-it-yourself DIY course. I will have a link to it down below, but this is essentially everything you need. All the business info, all the fashion info you need to successfully launch your brand. And because I'm making this announcement, if you use the code FIGHTTHEGOODFIGHT, you will get 50% off the course. This is the only time the course has been ever this discounted. So if you've been on the fence and you wanted to sign up for LYB, check out more information at recloseted.com/LYB. Again, the code is FIGHTTHEGOODFIGHT. That's the first way you can work with me. Then the second way is if you wanted my support and you want me to be more involved, I have 3 spots for one-on-one consulting clients next year. I have significantly reduced the amount of fashion brand clients I take on a one-on-one capacity. So if you are interested in this, go to recloseted.com/consultation. The link will be down below for you as well. Fill in a form to see if it's a fit to work together, and then we can chat through it. And then if you're a fashion entrepreneur or a fashion service provider listening to this, you're a designer, you're a stylist, what have you, there's a few ways we can work together now, which is so exciting. So my first thing, if you have a low budget and want to get started quickly, is my Sustain Your Success private podcast. In between this podcast now, as I do my hiatus, I have a brand new private podcast with over 28 episodes on how to sustainably grow your business. I cover marketing, sales, product launching, all this stuff. And so you can check it out at selenaho.com/SYS. Link will be down below for you as well. You can use code 2YourSuccess for $50 off. So that's your pocket companion to sustainably grow your business. And then there's 2 other ways that are more high touch to work with me. The first one is Uncork Your Potential, my one-on-one consulting services. If you want to tackle your challenges and be able to sustainably achieve your version of success, we can work one-on-one together for over 6 months. And you can find out more information at selenaho.com/consulting. The second way is Transform Your Sales, which is my new group consulting program on how we sustainably increase your sales. If you feel like you're on the feast and famine roller coaster right now, you have no idea what to do to increase your revenue, check out Transform Your Sales. You can get on the wait list to get exclusive growth strategies at selenaho.com/TYS. I know it's a lot, but I'm going to have it all listed down below based on if you're a fashion brand or a service provider. So all this to say, if you're still watching, I'm so grateful to have you in my community, and leave any comments down below about any other questions you have or anything you want to see from me, because I would love your feedback during this time. And just know that I'm always here for you. I'm cheering you on and sending you all my love.